cycle. We're not celebrities or anything. Even that, is very bad for celebrities. But
With rice being a staple product, our staple food, um, it's just, I feel like it's just hard for someone to just tell you to cut that out of your diet completely when it's like ingrained in your.
Be Active is easy. It's basically whatever thing you can find online. So you can go to my website, beactiveiseasy.com. So, hello everybody. So, my name is Phung, like Christy just said, and I am a fitness coach for women of color. And basically, all doing is helping women of color to figure out, like how to live the healthy lifestyle without compromising their, cultural background. And so, figure out, what's the best way for us to move forward, but also, like not listening to like random advices that might be really harmful to us.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I know the title up there is Your Body is Amazing by Instagram, but we know that there's other social media platforms out there. Can you
Mhm.
talk maybe about some of the, I guess, misconceptions of just what health looks like that you're hearing that's kind of common?
Yeah, so I mean, we're sort of like going through a cycle, like early 20s, you'd be like thin as a stick, and now it's like curvy and already harmful because, your body can't just go on that sort of cycle. We're not celebrities or anything. Even that, is very bad for celebrities. But yeah, women like we just compare ourselves to, pictures we see online or in movies. And if you've noticed, these people either, work very hard for the body that they get, and then they don't really like have that body, the whole year. So, we're just like comparing themselves like, oh, why is it like this? Like even athlete, their body don't look, top tip top shape whole year round, or even, or they just, do drugs or whatever, or they, manipulate their pictures. And so when we're seeing all these kind of things that, we see online or in movies or film, we're like, oh, well, we have to be like them. And the truth is you don't. And it's just this cycle of keep, before it's gonna be magazines. Now it's like Instagram because a lot of us are on Instagram, but maybe, like later on will be Twitter, Facebook. Like I don't know if you're on Facebook anymore, but yeah, so that's the repeating cycle of things.
Yeah, definitely. Um, in the beginning, you mentioned you work with women of color so that they feel like they don't have to sacrifice their culture in order to live a healthy lifestyle. So, can you talk a little bit about how your diet has been impacted by your culture?
I mean, if you're joining us live or seeing me right now, you can see that, I'm Asian. And so, a lot of fitness advice, would be revising your diet and including, just throwing rice out of the window, especially with the current climate of people trying to do keto diet that's even more prevalent. So, you're trying to have like quinoa, you do cauliflower rice. I literally like I don't eat those things as much. Like I do, live healthy. I do eat other sort of grains, but I still have to eat rice. And telling me, an Asian person, and be like, you have to quit it to be healthy, to look good. That's impossible. I don't eat like that.
Yeah, yeah. Which I know we talked about this offline, but you know, with rice being a staple product, our staple food, um, it's just, I feel like it's just hard for someone to just tell you to cut that out of your diet completely when it's like ingrained in your culture. Um, so I know also we talked about making substitutes for different foods. So can you share some ways that you have substitute, maybe not as healthy foods for things that are a little bit more healthy?
So, yeah, definitely. And so one of the biggest thing I've been doing is, cut back fried food. So, because I do live in the south of the US, so we have access to a ton. of these fried food. And literally, what I've been doing is, be lazy. I would not cook fried food. I would not fry anything at home. If I have to deep fry them, I would do that outside when I go to the restaurant. And so being me, obviously I have like an air fryer so that I can like, okay, if I need to do something, it's still a bit crunchy, it's healthy, but it doesn't have to taste as good because when I go out, I pay for someone else to do it, then it has to stay,
Right.
taste good. And that's my way of doing it because I don't eat out that much. Like at most, before COVID, it was once a week. And so it wouldn't eat too much into my either budget or diet.
Yeah, and you bring up an important part with budget. I think sometimes when we hear like, oh, I want to eat healthier, but it's going to cost too much, which is not necessarily true. So I don't know if you have any tips or advice to help people that are maybe wanting to ingrain more healthy options when they go grocery shopping.
Mhm.
But do you have ideas of ways that are not as expensive for people that are maybe starting their health food diet?
Mhm. I mean, first of all, you should, avoid any marketing things around. So things like superfood, you know, we're young, so we're strong. We don't need that. And then that's the first thing. So just use it now, like instead of use it for drinking, use it to this. And second thing, those things are just marketing terms. There's no like definition for a superfood and how they're better than any other things. And so I would say avoid those, anything that's fancy or whatever, because we're like at the beginning, just like take them out of the window. And then I would say buy a lot more beans. That's something that I'm trying to do. So like go halfway vegan. So I would still eat meat, but the vegan just come in because it's so cheaper. It is much more cheaper to prep. Like it's easier to prep and also cook like beans or vegetables, broccolis. So those things are much cheaper than to say like pork or like even beef. And so I can cook up like I look up random recipes, try them out, just get better at cooking myself and, just blend different sort of cuisines, whatever, into like what I want to eat. It doesn't matter, I eat myself. It doesn't matter who, I don't have anybody over, so like I just eat whatever and just experimenting with those things and, find ways, trying to protect the environment for a bit, but also, taste good.
Yeah, yeah. You talked a little bit about this, but I know we talked about meal prepping. Can you share how you actually meal prep?
Yeah, so I don't cook, any big meals. Like sometimes I would do that, like one big, say, shepherd's pie because, minced beef were on sale. So I make that and then put it, like cut it up and then put it in the freezer. But that's happened once in a while if there's any sales going on and, I can cook up a big meal. But usually I would just, prep everything in advance. So like I would cut up the onions, like mince them up, put them in the freezer, or, cook up my rice and freeze them. Just throw them in the freezer too. And so it's sort of like a deconstructed frozen meal. It's not, like totally cooked yet. So a couple of them, I just prep them. And then once it's time for me to eat, I would like, just fire up my stuff and then put stuff in, just mix them around and see what combination works.
Yeah. I know that you happen to be a recent college grad, but I'm wondering if you had some like go-to recipes while you were in college. You know, between not having much of a budget to buy food and then you're still learning how to cook sometimes in college. What are some of your, or what were some of your go-to meals when you were in college?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I just discovered this recently, but I don't know if you know the YouTuber Joshua Weissman. He has so he's a big he has 4 million subscribers.
Okay.
A lot of he's on the younger side, like a chef that's 21, 22 years old. And so he would cook up a lot of much cheaper food, like $2 ramen that is healthier. So you would still need you eat spam, you got kimchi, but that's about it. The rest of them, you cook up like it tastes exactly like ramen, but because the noodle you're gonna use is egg noodles or whatever you can find, is much cheaper and also healthier for you. So I would recommend checking out his page. He has a lot of those. He went from like just $2 things to like $1,000 things because he's a chef and he's like I'm successful now, so I'll cook up caviar or whatever and put it in there.
Wow. Um, I do want to ask you kind of what we talked about earlier about staying true to your culture. What are some ways that you have learned to balance being healthy but still staying true to yourself and your culture?
So I would say I would try to eat more vegetables that's from my culture. And so we have, different sort of soups, stew or whatever. And so my way of doing it is actually just cooking up like a bigger portion of those vegetables, like the good thing that you're supposed to eat and make it like I have to have myself eat that, like sort of like, okay, need to get through this hurdle. And then once I'm done, like, okay, that's all of these fun stuff and eat them. Now eat my rice, eat my rice, eat my noodles, but like once I'm done with the vegetables. So that's one way that I do it, and the other way is just like I said, I try out different cuisines because we live in the U.S., so like there's a lot of things that we can try and see. And then I'm sort of making like Asian fusion things, so I would eat the thing, like cook it up to like the right recipe, and then see which part of it I like, and then just adapt it back to whatever I want to eat.
Yeah, that's good. So you're not necessarily just forgetting like your culture, you're finding ways to still embed it into what you're eating. And so I like that
Hmm.
you are still able to stay true to who you are, but like integrate more vegetable protein
Right.
in your diet.
I mean, even for our Thanksgiving meal, we have a more Asian one. So we don't have a turkey. We
Yeah.
have a chicken, but it's still roasted. It's still moist. Like that sort of thing because we don't eat turkey a whole lot with Asian food. It's just that's something we don't eat. So I'm like, okay, let's just roast the turkey. And we have that, and our stuffing is also sort of like Asian fusion. So like I would add chili oil, chili flakes, all that stuff. Like that's more Asian than other things. But you can still adapt. Like that's the joy of cooking for yourself is you just cook however you want to.
Yeah. What do you feel like is the biggest, I guess, hurdle for people in their 20s when it comes to either healthy eating or just healthy lifestyle overall?
It's time, I would say, because we're very busy people. We don't have, we have a lot of obligations either, in work or we go to school. We might have parents or siblings that we have to take care of. And so, we just overwhelm ourselves and maybe like you want to go out, you too. So like, that's so many responsibilities and figuring out like the time and be able to prioritize it for, your health is the biggest hurdle.
Definitely. I just remember being in college a few years ago, and it's just like between classes and work, and then like being involved on campus, there was really like not that
Right.
much downtime. So I would
Hmm.
agree with that.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's too much.
I'm sure the pandemic slowed things down, but it still was hard.
Right.
Um, I know you work with women of color specifically, but and I know every culture is different. But what are some, I guess, common things that you hear your clients that you work with say as it pertains to healthy lifestyles? But you're just like, that's not even possible because I know you have a background within exercise science, so you kind of know like, hey, that's not good advice. So, what are, I guess, some of the common things that you hear among your clients that's very a myth, I guess I should say?
Mhm. So the biggest thing I think applies to all women, and that is you're afraid to do strength training because you're gonna bulk up. It's super hard for us women to do that. We like for us testosterone, so that's the muscles thing that men's have. We on average, obviously, we have only about 10% of whatever they have. And so for us to be able to bulk, so like you limiting yourself from doing strength workout just because you're afraid, it's gonna affect your figure. And that's not true. Like you got tone, you got tone a bit, but getting that much muscles, much definition for us women, like is super hard. You need to work with a team. You cannot do it by yourself. That's so like don't limit yourself. And the second thing has to do with with our current culture of just looking curvy, but then somehow your legs are like thin as sticks for some reason. Like you have big thing and then your legs are like this. And I'm like, you don't have nothing to support. But I'm sorry,
Yeah,
you
it's
have
physically
big
not
booty.
possible.
Like you want to fall over or something. Like you want to hurt yourself, like hurt your back or whatever. Like that's wrong. Like you can't have it. If you have a bigger boobs or bigger booty, you're gonna have bigger thighs, and that's just what it is. You gotta have them bigger so that you can support it. And so I have people who try to just selectively trim fat off of their belly and their thighs and get more in the boobs and butts. And I'm like, that's not possible. You're trying to do the impossible thing. And that's one of the most ridiculous things that I have to hear like over and over again.
Yeah, yeah. I know that you are a coach, but I want to give you a chance to promote your services. So, can you tell us a little bit about what you offer? Is it simply one-on-one, or is it one-on-one and coaching, and any other things that you offer as well?
So yeah, thank you first of all for having me. It's a pleasure. And second, so if you're wanting to know what I'm all about, obviously you're on Instagram, visit my Instagram page. It's all about fitness, health, funny things, and my cat, anything between. So it's just fitness and cat, I would say. And it's very fun. My page is I don't know what's happening to that page, but I do have a website, and basically I only do one-on-one coaching because I feel like it is because everybody need to sort of work together to figure out, your plan. And so if like we're in a group, maybe I won't be able to pay as much attention to your problems and, little crooks and crannies things that are happening underneath. And so I only do one-on-one coaching, and if you can apply for it through my link in bio. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I know your Instagram will be at the top, but where can people find you other places online?
Oh, so my Instagram, Be Active is Easy, is basically whatever thing you can find online. So you can go to my website, beactiveiseasy.com, for my one-on-one coaching program and maybe other blogs that I go more into depth about different fitness stuff that you might want to read. And I'm on Pinterest, so if you want to go through that, all that random things that I do, or Twitter, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. So pretty much everything is in your link in bio. So that's easy enough.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Phung, for being the guest today. I learned a lot, and I know our listeners learned a lot as well. And I think it's really awesome that not only are you able to find balance within being healthy and staying true to your culture, but you're teaching other women of color to do that as well. Because sometimes I feel like it's almost like we're told to sacrifice our culture when we want to live a healthy lifestyle. And it's like, how can you expect someone to just throw away like everything they grew up with? So,
Right.
thank you.
Hmm.
All right. Well, thanks again and have a good rest of your night.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.